right, next team on the list that we have here today is the New Orleans Saints. What we're doing is we're going across the entire NFL. We're reviewing the 2024 season, going over the 2025 offseason, and then me and Noah are going to give our 2025 season predictions. And in 2024, this team finished 5-12, finished fourth in the NFC South. They had Dennis Allen, and then Dennis Allen, the head coach, got fired in November, and then got replaced with the clogger and Darren Rizzi. And this team last season was brutal. I mean, obviously Derek Carr goes down at some point in the season. I forget exactly when and where, but if you guys remember, and if you guys are outside when they beat the Carolina Panthers 47-10 and the Dallas Cowboys 44-19, and they were the best offense statistically of all time. Do you remember that?
I do remember. I was outside. Those were two of the craziest games for the New Orleans Saints since Drew Brees has been gone.
Definitely. I mean, that was better. That was better than Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah, those were two offensive games that they put up where it was like, what the hell is happening here? What was it, Shane Kubiak? He was their OC. Clint Kubiak, sorry. Is he the next Michael Jordan of play calling? And you thought we weren't fooled, for the record, but
we were not.
There were people that were fooled by. Where were you weeks 1 and 2 of the New Orleans Saints 2024 season?
Yeah, and then in week 3 they played the Philadelphia Eagles and lost 15-12, and that game was brutal. So
that game sucked.
Some offensive some DVOA stats from the 2024 season. Offensive DVOA, they finished 27th in the NFL. Defensive DVOA, they finished 23rd in the NFL. And total team DVOA, they finished 22nd in the NFL. I mean, yeah, that matches up with my eye test. I mean, this was one of the worst teams in the NFL. Once Derek Carr went down in full, so looked like he went down in week 5. Rattler came in for 3 weeks. Then he played up until week 14, and then the last few games of the season, I mean, it was absolutely brutal. So obviously Derek Carr going down didn't help much, but even if Derek Carr played this entire season, I don't know how much faith I personally would have had with Derek Carr leading this team to have a much better season than 5 wins.
Didn't Derek Carr dive for a first down and just get absolutely helicoptered, and that's how he got hurt?
Yes. It was electric, honestly.
I wish we had that video. I'm typing in Derek Carr helicopter video. Yeah. Hopefully we can find that. But yeah. No, he got crushed. And that's ultimately what led us to have to watch Spencer Rattler for the last few games of the NFL season for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, those last 4 games, they put up 19, 0, 10, and 19. So just abysmal offensive performances from Spencer Rattler, and they're keeping him around, and he's the starting quarterback for 2025. But we'll get there.
The first thing that I really want to highlight, it's time to move on from Mickey Loomis. I mean, is there a guy who has been able to hold on to a one singular draft that he had all those years ago when he hit on Alvin Kamara, Mike Thomas, and all of those guys from that draft class, and kind of propelled them to be a real contender in the mid to late 2010s. And now at this point, he has just flat overstayed his welcome. And I'm sitting here wondering what dirt do they have? What does he have over the Benson family for them to not sit there and be like, okay, it's time to probably move on from him? This is a team that everybody has been saying it's time to rebuild. It's time to rebuild. It's time to rebuild. They have not rebuilt this team since Sean Payton and Drew Brees have walked out the door. They have constantly been trying to slap Band-Aids on every single position, bringing in old veterans, bringing in guys who were successful at other places, when in reality, they need to strip this thing down to the absolute studs and just kind of start over. It's bad.
To be fair, like I think that's what they're doing when they announced that Rattler was going to be the starting quarterback, because up until last season they were 9-8, they were 7-10, they were kind of just like hanging around, and the fact that they don't play in a great division helps them, because you can obviously win 9 games and win your division and still, or win 7 games and like be right around the top, which is crazy. But
brother, I disagree with you completely. They got slapped by a blindsided retiring this offseason.
They got lucky. They got lucky in that.
But this isn't like them figuring out that this is finally time. Like their quarterback going into this season was going to be Derek Carr. I just think that that nobody understands how bad this quarterback room is.
It's horrible. It's the worst in the NFL. If you guys
watch the preseason, this is the only preseason games I watched all year were the Saints. Both of their guys that they have playing quarterback for them are absolutely brutal.
Yeah, they're both bad. It's an absolutely miserable quarterback room. But I think the Derek Carr retirement just played the Saints' hand as far as forcing them to have to play one of these guys. They're going to win. I'm not going to get there yet, but probably going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
But you say this like it's forced their hand, but then they like go and they bring in like a Brandon Cooks this offseason. They bring like a Justin Reed. They had Tyrann Mathieu on the roster and he retired. Like this Mickey Loomis was trying to win now. He was trying to win now.
Okay, the Brandon Cooks deal. What was the Brandon Cooks deal?
It doesn't matter what the Brandon Cooks deal is. It doesn't matter. It could be $500,000 to go and sign him. Makes no sense. Then
you have to fill out a roster.
Then what Mickey Loomis? Well, let's talk about it. Then what Mickey Loomis does? A team who has absolutely zero business trading away any draft picks, trade for an old wide receiver in Devon Vele, who has done nothing.
I forgot about that
in his entire career. So you're sitting here saying like, oh, like they really forced his hand. They're still making moves to try to bolster this roster going into this season, and they're terrible moves. It's time to fire Mickey Loomis. It needs to be absolutely like you're sitting here saying that they're doing that. They're doing this. They're doing that. Cam Jordan's still in this team. Alvin Kamara is still in this team. Strip it down to the absolute studs and start over. This team needs to get rebuilt. It hasn't been rebuilt since like 2016. Well, before that, it should have gotten rebuilt in 2016 when Drew Brees retired because they had no shot. Yeah, I mean, this guy has overstayed his welcome tenfold.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you that he should be fired and they need to like do a legitimate strip of the team and start fresh. But I just think this team's going to be so bad that they're just going to find themselves into finding their way into the number one pick. And that's really what it comes down to. And I think if anybody was smart, they wouldn't let Mickey Loomis handle the number one overall pick. They would move on from him. But at this point, who knows? We'll see what happens if this does end up being one of the worst teams in the NFL. But on paper, it's starting to trend that way.
I mean, if this isn't one of the worst teams in the NFL, then I have no fun.
We have to retire.
Yeah, to get into it though a little bit. Sorry. Dennis Allen went 2-7. They ultimately go and get rid of him. The Clogger went 3-5. Finished 5-12. Finished fourth in the NFC South. Yeah, they stink. I mean, some storylines from the offseason is just like injuries. Like Derek Carr gets hurt. He has to retire then in the offseason. Chris Olave is on his 15th concussion, and now it's like looming that he might like if he gets a concussion this season, like there's going to be some conversations that people don't really like love to have if he has like a future being able to play.
If he has a future being able to have a conversation.
Yeah, and then the same thing with Alvin Kamara too, where it's like if Alvin Kamara gets nicked up, like what motivation does he have to play? And I think of Cam Jordan had a clip come out this summer where he was like, was there ever a time where like you almost quit? And he was like, yeah, last season. And there was like,
yeah.
And there was this clip where Derek Carr goes and grabs him. If you're telling me that he almost quit last season when they went 5-12, I mean, this team might go winless this year. This team might win one game this season. So I think that this is a slippery slope that they're going on right now. I think that they have a lot of older guys on this roster who have played in a lot of big time football games, who are getting into the twilight of their career, who are not, their timelines don't match up with what's happening on this field right now. So I'm just, like I said, I'm worried about this football team and what could potentially happen. I think that's why, like, Alvin Kamara is, like, as much as I love him, like, he's not somebody who I want in fantasy this season. Like, if he hurts
not on the Saints,
if he hurts his hamstring, like, what motivation does he have to come back quick from an injury like that? Like, literally zero at all. So yeah, I just think that this might be one of the teams in the worst spots in the NFL.
I think Alvin Kamara is like the perfect candidate, like the perfect trade candidate for a team that's contending.
I think
if the Saints have any idea, which they clearly don't, they would have already traded him heading into this season. But that's besides the point. I think we see Alvin Kamara on a contender at some point this season. He's just not playing. He still has some juice left in the tank, and he's just playing zero meaningful football in New Orleans this season. So I don't really understand, unless he's like, I want to be here for my entire career. I don't really see a reason why they wouldn't want to trade him, because he also does have an out at the end of this season. So at least you could get something for him if you decide to trade him after a couple weeks. So that's something that I would say to keep an eye on. But yeah, they just don't have much. The timelines don't add up. They have some older guys, and this is a team that just needs to rebuild, like we've been saying.
Yeah. Some 2025 offseason stuff. I mean, they obviously, Derek Carr announced his retirement. Tyrann Mathieu announced his retirement. Did Ryan Ramczyk, I think that's how you say his last name, I think he ended up announcing his retirement as well. These are just guys who have played a lot of football and were in the league for a long time. And that's what I was getting. That's really what I was getting at there. You have a lot of guys whose timelines don't match up with what you're doing with this football team. And to have 3 dudes retire in one offseason that's kind of crazy. I mean, you don't really hear that too often. Am I missing anybody else who they lost in the offseason, not just to retirement?
They lost Paulson Adebo. They lost Jamal Williams, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Lucas Patrick, Willie Gay Jr., Shamar John Charles. That's about it. Worth noting.
All right, and then let's go into the free agency signings. They go and they sign Justin Reed. They signed Brandon Cooks. I already kind of critiqued those signings as well. Is there any other signings that caught your eye from this offseason for them?
Jack Stoll, Devon Godchaux. I don't know how to say his last name. I apologize, but that's about it. No real
And then obviously they trade for Devon Vele. Interesting, very, very interesting move. Still thinking about that. Then to get into the NFL draft, they go and they take Kelvin Banks with the 9th overall pick. I love that pick. I think that he's probably the best tackle that was available in this draft outside of the guy that the Patriots got. I forget his name, Will Campbell. But he was a guy who everybody really loved, and I think what's not to love about getting a cornerstone left tackle who's going to be good for a long time. So I applaud that pick. Great pick. And then it gets interesting because they take Tyler Shuck in the 2nd round, and every single nerd on social media kind of started to applaud this pick. And they're like, oh, this is the guy. This guy is too good. Him and Kellen Moore are going to be so good together. This guy was Justin Herbert's backup in Oregon, And Justin Herbert's going into his 6th season in the NFL.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he's the rookie right now. So at any time that happens, I mean, you're telling me that you're getting an old quarterback who has been injured his entire college career and hasn't played a lot of football. Why would I like him going into the NFL in any way, shape, or form? Makes no sense.
Brandon Weeden vibes.
Yeah, it's just that makes zero sense to me. So I hated that pick to begin with, and then we watched the quarterback battle play out over the offseason, and then to get beat out by Spencer Rattler, who is an F. I mean, that kind of really tells you everything that you need to know about Tyler Shaw.
Yeah, this quarterback room is just ugly, and a guy that you drafted in the 2nd round. Didn't Spencer Rattler get drafted like round 5 or something like that? Round 6?
He got drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah, so as a 2nd round pick, I think the bare minimum is you should be able to beat out a guy that was a 5th round draft pick at quarterback that hasn't really played any sort of relevant football. Like, he's played a couple games, but doesn't really have much NFL experience under his belt either. I think you should be expected to win the job in that room, and he must be bad if you're not beating Spencer Rattler. So that's really all there is to it. Is this quarterback room is just going to be god awful,
really bad. Yeah, some Vegas win totals and some futures to win the NFC South. Hold on.
Bless you.
Sorry, I just sneezed. To win the NFC South, they're sitting at plus 1,500. They're an absolute long shot. One of the worst odds to win their division across the entire NFL. To win their division across the entire NFL. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. This team's going to stink. Then to continue to go in to win the Super Bowl, they're sitting at plus 40,000, and to make the playoffs, it's looking like it's sitting at plus 650. Yeah, I mean, nobody on this team's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Nobody's going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Nobody's going to win Rookie of the Year. Nobody's going to win anything on this football team in any way, shape, or form. It's not even worth talking about. They're going to be that bad.
Yeah, I completely agree. They have their closest player is Kamara or Olave, and Olave has 95 concussions, and Alvin Kamara is going to get traded. So that's really all there is to it.
There is something that I want to do here because I don't know if it's a possibility, but is there a way to bet this team to potentially go winless or to be the last team to get a win or something along those lines? Because I'm looking at the start of this season for them from weeks 1 to 10. I'm not seeing one win on this schedule for them. Like, all jokes aside, I don't see one win on this entire schedule for them at all.
I'm trying to find a win total here. I know that you already said what the number was, but I'm seeing if there's a bet anywhere that you can win them or bet them to win 0 games. Well, under 1.5 wins is plus 800.
I mean, it's not even worth it. It's kind of like not worth it, honestly, to even take that. Like, it's really not even worth it to take it. I think that the books might kind of be all over this already. I mean, this is going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, to start off the season with the Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, Seattle, Buffalo, New York, New England, at Chicago, Tampa Bay, Los Angeles, and Carolina, there's not one win on that schedule for them.
Yeah, the New Orleans Saints are the definition of not standing a chance.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I think that they might get smoked by the New York Giants, and everybody's going to be dead shook.
That will be awesome. Jackson Dart's coming out party.
Yeah, I guess.
Not like that.
oh, sorry. I misunderstood. Yeah, so yeah, I just think that maybe, hey, never mind. There is no bet here really to make, and we reviewed some of the schedule already. It's just not really looking too good for this football team in any way, shape, or form. There's no easy games on a schedule at all, like across the NFL. But when you're at least the first 4 weeks of the season, when you're going like against like a Buffalo, Seattle, San Francisco, Arizona, I mean, those are teams that are like primed to make the playoffs. They're not going to sit around and try to drop a game to a team that's going to be completely irrelevant.
The fact that this line for wins is 6.5 is like mind-boggling to me.
Maybe we're missing something. Maybe we should take the over.
We have to zag. We have to zag. We have to zag.
We're clearly missing something about this football team.
Well, I think what we're forgetting is they're moving Trevor Penning to left guard. So
that's 4
why.
Wins. That's 4 wins. Now, all jokes aside, I mean, just to get into 2025 predictions, I think this team. I think this team's the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I look at the 2 potential worst teams in the NFL. I think of the Cleveland Browns and I think of the New Orleans Saints. And even when you look at the Cleveland Browns, they have somebody like a Myles Garrett, who is like one of the top players in their prime, who's a really good football player. This team doesn't have anybody even close to being on that sort of caliber of player. So just with that being said alone, and the Browns have Shedeur Sanders. So just with that alone, I think that this team, I want to say they win 1 game, but I think that they're probably going to be able to squeak out 2 wins at some point. They have to, right? They have to win 2 games.
I think 2 wins is like maybe generous.
I'll give them 2. Do you think this team will go winless?
I honestly think it's so hard to go winless.
Dude, I think they go winless. No, there's no way.
I think they win 2 games. I think they win 2 games, and then I think they draft Garrett Nussmeier with the 1st overall pick out of LSU. He doesn't leave the state. I think his dad coaches on the Saints too. So it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I think all Saints fans, I think that this is a type of video where like you're not going to get like when we have the Seahawks fans calling us idiots and shit like that. Like if you guys think the New Orleans Saints are going to be good, I can't help you. So like read a book and like go ahead.
I was just going to say Doug Nussmeier is the quarter, maybe former, but he was a coach for New Orleans. I think, hold on here. He's the offensive coordinator for the Saints. So if you don't think that he's going to be chirping this front office to draft his son, you got another thing coming. So New Orleans Saints fans, get ready to learn Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah, I think it's either him or who's the quarterback for Arizona State?
I can picture what he looks like, but I can't think of his name.
Pause.
Sam Levitt.
Yeah, I think like him. I think that probably when we're like realistically like this team, you're looking at. He's only a sophomore. Actually, he's not even going to be eligible. So I think like with this team, what we're going to be talking about was like who could they potentially get at a quarterback, and that's a good pool. Obviously, like his dad is the OC there, but there's also some guys that could potentially be a little bit better than him going in. Like if Cade Klubnik is QB1, Drew Aller, or Lenore Sellers, or one of those guys. What's lucky about what's going on with the New Orleans Saints at this draft is they're going into a draft where they're going to be bad at the quarterback position, where if they are at the number 1 pick, they're going to have an abundance of options at the top, because it seems like this is a quarterback rich draft coming up here.
Is there a chance that the Saints offensive line is like, okay?
I mean, probably not.
Like Kelvin Banks could be good, could be solid. Moving Penning into left guard could be similar.
Penning's been awful.
I know that, but he's been at tackle, and Mekhi Becton effect potentially, and then they have Fuaga at right tackle.
I mean, Fuaga stunk last season.
Yeah, but that whole offensive line was just a mess.
So what changes this year that they're going to be any better?
Development and adding a good left tackle.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to find a bright spot here. Is there a chance that their offensive line is decent?
No. I think Kelvin Banks is decent. I don't think the rest of the players on the offensive line are decent.
Okay. I'm trying to find a positive here for Saints fans.
I think Kelvin Banks is great. Is going to be great. I don't think the rest of this unit is going to be any good. To keep it real.
Fair, very fair. I'm keeping an eye on it.
They have a bunch.
I'm putting it at the top of my list is to make sure that I watch the New Orleans Saints offensive line every week.
You know who else is going to have to move into tackle? Fuaga, because his arms are too short. So he's going to move into guard. I mean, from tackle to guard too.
Hey, at least you got something out of him.
So
pause.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I have on the Saints. They stink. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, there's not much to talk about there. Yeah. I mean, sorry.
They have some work to do for the next 8 years, probably.
Definitely.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take vision.